Today on The Report, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis passes a new bill barring children under 14 from social media.
Meanwhile, the Princess of Wales has been diagnosed with cancer.
And Meta Stonewalls any response to child safety inquiries. It's all coming up on The Report.
Hello, I'm Jasmine Alvarez.
I'm Kemdi Wosu.
And I'm Noah Sakatis. Don't forget to follow us on X at The Report CSUF and on our Titan TV Instagram at Titan TV CSUF to keep in touch with us and keep up with the latest content. Florida Ron DeSantis has signed a bill barring kids under the age of 14 from owning a social media account. He also signed a bill that allows 14 and 15-year-olds to have social media accounts only if they have their parents' permission. DeSantis explained that, quote, the bill aims to tackle grooming and mental health concerns among children, end quote. The governor vetoed a bill recently that called for a full ban for teens under 16. DeSantis sent it back for revision, citing free speech rights needing to be more protected. The legislation came back with this bill. The bill doesn't name any social media platforms specifically, but does discuss popular aspects of many social media sites, such as algorithms that, quote, pull young users into consumer hours of content that disrupts their mental health, end quote. The bill is slated to take effect on January 1st, 2025. So with news of this bill being launched into the Florida state legislature, do you think this will have any negative effects on the children in the state?
I don't think necessarily negative effects on children. I do think that if anything, like children will find a way to get around this bill because it doesn't like specifically like state like how, you know, they're going to like restrict, because I know at one point they said something about like you would need your parents' permission to like be able to get a social media account if you're under the age of 14. But is that like Disney Channel type of parents' permission where it's like you can like say you got parents' permission, but it's not really like you could just go on like regardless and like you can say like, oh, it's like a parent. It's like all those websites like Twitch, for example. All you have to do is click a button that says like, oh yeah, I'm like 15, 16 years old, and you could not be, so.
I haven't read specifically what the bill says. Is it asking for like a signed document from the parent, or is it just like you said? I
don't think it specifies like whatsoever.
Yeah, okay, yeah. There we go, so.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Kemdi. I think, you know, even when I think back when I was a kid, I used to even have the loophole where it would ask you, are you 18 years or older? And I would be like, no. And they would ask you, what year are you born in? And I would just do the math, you know? So definitely, if there's a will, there's a way. And children, you know, they're curious or they want to have social media because it's cool and, you know. So I think definitely I agree. They're going to find a way to get around it. The question is how are they going to tackle that?
I got one more question for you guys and we can move on. And I'm going to start with you, Jasmine. Do you think there could be any positives to a possible ban of social media for kids under 13?
I think so. You know, I definitely think so. Children, unfortunately, are at an age where they're highly influenced. And, you know, I even get caught up in it where we can spend hours scrolling and losing track of time. And, you know, I think back to when we were kids and social media wasn't such a prominent thing. And, you know, we'd actually go outside and play. And there was a little bit more physical activity. And now I feel like there's just more and more of a decrease in that. And there's also, you know, some argue that technology is innovative and it actually does promote creativity, but some argue that maybe it doesn't. Maybe it actually harms creativity because we aren't allowing children to get bored, to actually let their minds think and become creative. So it's a tricky question, but I don't think there's any harm in it, personally. What about you guys?
I think there's a little danger on kids getting hooked on social media. I know a lot of cases of people getting more depressed because of social media, whether it be like FOMO, fear of missing out, or just like liking, like getting the validation from likes. Like people get addicted to that, like the chemical reaction, the endorphins.
Exactly.
So I do think it's got to be some kind of problem. And I do think it helps, like if it happens like later on when, you know, you got a little bit, like not a lot, but like a little bit more brain development, like you'll learn to at least be somewhat of a better person and not like rely so much on like the opinions of others, or you won't care that much that like people are doing things without you. So yeah.
What about you, Noah?
I think it's an incredible positive. I think there is obviously an age limit for certain things. I think if you're at a point of child development, if you're at a stage of neurological development where you're given this screen that is very overstimulating for some kids, it's going to have some long-lasting effects. So in the long run, I think this is probably more of a good thing that they're getting rid of it for children under 14. I don't think you should have a social media if you're under 14 either. I think there's kind of a weird obsession with getting kids that are younger and younger and younger to get on the internet, get on social media. So I'm really glad in this state that in this situation that Florida is barring those kids from getting that kind of access. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Kate Middleton, Princess of Wales, announced this past Friday that she's been diagnosed with cancer and is undergoing chemotherapy following much speculation about her current health and whereabouts. Her condition was disclosed in a statement when recorded on Wednesday and released on Friday after relentless speculation on social media after being hospitalized in January for an unspecified abdominal surgery. Princess Kate asked for time, space, and privacy while she received treatment for an unspecified type of cancer, which was discovered some time after her surgery. She said in the video, quote, "I am well. I'm getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal," end quote. Kate hadn't been seen publicly since Christmas last year until a video surfaced this week of her and her husband Prince William walking from a farm shop close by their Windsor home. Meanwhile, Kensington Palace has given very little detail about Kate's condition beyond saying that it wasn't cancer-related. The surgery was successful and recuperation would keep the princess away from public duties until April. Kate said that it had been thought that her condition was non-cancerous until tests revealed the diagnosis. She stated, quote, "This of course comes as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process this and manage for this privately for the sake of our young family," end quote. This development comes as another jolt for the royal family, following the announcement last month of King Charles III's treatment for an unspecified type of cancer that was discovered while undergoing a procedure for a benign enlarged prostate. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has gone on record saying that Princess Kate, quote, "has shown tremendous bravery," end quote. He added, quote, "In recent weeks, she has been subjected to intense scrutiny and has been unfairly treated by certain sections of the media around the world and on social media," end quote. Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, also sent his best wishes to Kate at this, quote, "distressing time," end quote. This is a shock, of course. I know everyone was talking about the picture that we saw a couple weeks ago. A little speculation on that. It looked kind of odd. We all kind of made our jokes about it, but you know, what do you guys feel like now? Now that we know?
There's a lot of people that feel bad for making fun of the whole situation, being like, oh, Kate Middleton is dead, she's gone, they're covering it up, they killed her like they killed Princess Diana. But the whole thing is, it's really not exactly our fault. They handled that terribly. I mean, obviously it's a very private matter when you have a family member that has cancer, and especially the royal family, which has a lot of high publicity following them around all the time. I just think that they might not have had somebody that specifically was assigned to handle this type of matter. They've obviously had situations in the past, like obviously the king just was diagnosed with cancer. It just seems like it was really badly handled by the royal family, or at least the public receptionists of the royal family. So are we really responsible though for like making a laughing matter out of a really terribly photoshopped image that was meant to try to cover up something that is really serious that everybody would be talking about, like the princess who could potentially be the wife of the future king having cancer? Anyways, that's my opinion. What do you think, Jasmine?
You know, well, first and foremost, I want to send healing and health to the Princess of Wales, Kate. I hope she has a speedy recovery and, all goes well with her treatments. I think it's a tough situation. I don't blame the public for wanting speculating and wanting answers. Even I wanted answers and I thought, what's going on? What's with the photoshopped, pictures? We haven't seen her since December of last year. It was one thing after another and it just seemed odd. So I don't blame the public, but I do try and put myself in the shoes of the palace, which is very hard shoes to fill, may I add. But, I think they just got a really horrible news, regarding the king. And now we have this coming in from the Princess of Wales. And all of this, whether we think about it or not, it has to affect the new coming king. Right. It has to have an effect on him. And, I think the palace may have been scared of what the public might think, whether he will be ready when the time comes to take it on, because now he has a sick father and wife. And I don't want to say, oh, she's sick and look at it as a bad thing. She's a strong woman. And, I believe that her health will, hopefully progress, but they are valid concerns. And I think maybe the palace just didn't know how to handle that. It could be. Yeah.
Well, sending our best wishes to them.
Indeed.
Absolutely. U.S. House senators are losing patience with Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta and founder of Facebook and Instagram. The Senate Judiciary Committee released hundreds of pages of responses from big tech companies in the aftermath of a late January hearing regarding the protection of children on social media. Despite, quote, multiple extensions, end quote, given to Meta and Zuckerberg, all the committee has received as a response is a 35-page reply within 6 weeks. Senate Judiciary spokesman Josh Sorbet said, quote, his lack of urgency in responding to members' questions proves yet again that neither he nor his company is committed to protecting children online. It is more important than ever for the Senate to pass our kids' online safety bills and finally hold big tech accountable, end quote. Zuckerberg took the brunt of the grilling from senators during the January 31st hearing of big tech CEOs regarding which committee members saw as social media platforms rife with potential harm to children. He was forewarned to issue an apology to families in attendance who went on record saying they had children harmed by social media. He was accused of having, quote, blood on his hands, end quote, and giving answers that resembled big tobacco executives in the 1990s. 2 weeks after the hearing, judiciary members followed up with a letter to Zuckerberg with regards to the now shuttered, quote, warning screens, end quote, on Instagram for child sex abuse material. Senators wanted to know, in part, why Instagram would even be showing that type of content in the first place. Zuckerberg was given 11 days to provide documentation on by Judiciary Chair Dick Durbin, the Democrat senator for Illinois, and Ted Cruz, the Republican senator for Texas. However, to which degree those responses are included in the 35 pages that were unveiled on Monday remains unclear. Meta spokesman Andy Stone told the Post, quote, we are working diligently to answer over 500 questions for the record we received after the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, end quote. So guys, I have a couple questions. What do you guys make of Meta's lack of responsibility when it comes to protecting children on their platforms?
I really don't think they care. You know, they just want to make money. I mean, I remember in high school, like that infamous hearing that Zuckerberg had to go to, and I don't even remember what happened with that, to be honest. But I do remember that everyone really forgot about the events concerning it, and they were more focused on the Zuckerberg meme that came out of it, him drinking water and just acting not human, basically. And I really don't think they care. I feel like they're going to, same with the previous story about the DeSantis and the social media thing, these companies are going to find ways to get around this, because if they can make money off of kids, they don't really care about their well-being, to be honest.
It's just a clear lack of concern for the well-being of kids online. They obviously don't care, like Kemdi said. They're all obviously in it to make money. And really, these platforms have garnered such a large reputation with the public that I think that their inflated egos might be just okay, well, look, the government's asking us not to do this, but really, are they going to stop us? We have billions of dollars. We've been lobbied. They've even been lobbied by politicians in the past before to enact certain changes. So I really think that the only way that any kind of change can be done in order for children to be removed off of the platform is if you have a a total bipartisan agreement from both sides, because obviously, you know, politicians, Republicans and Democrats, are not exactly together on this matter. This is clearly more of a Republican matter to get kids off of social media. There needs to be a total bipartisan agreement for Capitol Hill to lobby these platforms to remove kids off of the platform. And the only way that you can really do that is by implementing extreme limitations on kids. I'm obviously not, you know, a tech expert, so I don't know how it would exactly be done. But the fact that we're talking about it and the fact that there is a way that we can do it and that we're suggesting it is important. And that's the conversation that we need to be having right now is, can it be done? Not how can it be done? Anyways. Yeah.
I have to agree. I agree with you both. I think it's a really important topic, you know, not just for mental health, but for sexploitation, which is what this case is truly about. It's about, you know, the platform being used and enabling sometimes behavior that can be used for that, for sexploitation. So, you know, with the message disappearing and things like that, those features can, you know, unfortunately put vulnerable children, you know, minorities at risk for people who are looking for people who are vulnerable in that. So, you know, it's definitely a good question. If it can't be solved, then what's the next step? You know, if it can't be solved, then maybe banning social media, would that be the next step? And to some that seems extreme, but we need to find a solution because it's clear that there's a problem.
It's not helping either. Like, obviously the only real thing that social media can help you with is trying to kind of expand your reputation in the business world. If you are going into acting or you're going into modeling or music videos wise, it's a great networker. But for kids, what is it providing? That's the point.
Right.
What is educational about it? It can be used for education, of course, but what is it really providing at the end of the day for children? 8 years old, 9 years old, why do you need a social media platform? It's not necessary. And obviously some of these politicians that are going after Meta have pointed out how it can be used for harm, and it's clearly not helping.
I agree.
I mean, like, these kids don't need like social media, like 8, 9. Like, what are you even gonna post anyways? Like, what's your story going to be?
Right.
Like,
yeah, and a lot of their posts end up getting saved or shared by a lot of pedophiles or people who are looking to exploit children. So, you know, we have to look at the grim reality, and it is what it is.
It's a scary cycle. It's we really don't know who's out there and who is looking for these vulnerable kids.
Exactly.
And it's a huge web of totally open, free material that anybody can access.
I agree.
And with that, we're out of time for today. Thanks to all of you for tuning in.
be sure to keep in touch with us for the latest in world news and different views.
We'll see you next time on The Report.